at the end of the day, even from an aftermarket perspective, how much money are you willing to invest into an almost 5,000 pound car?
What's good, y'all? It's Cam.
The Spade.
And we are back. Two Brother Automotive News episode. Spade. Episode 27.
I was about to ask you. Okay,
episode 27.
We getting there.
We getting there. Happy New Year.
Facts.
If you hadn't seen us, this is probably the first or second video after New Year, but the first time seeing us in New Year. Happy New Year. We are in 2026. And New Year, more videos.
Facts.
Better videos.
Facts.
You know, we getting in our rhythm. You know, we rework some stuff. So yeah, excited for a new year of more news from Two Brothers Autos. Spade.
Yes, sir.
You want to kick us off with our first topic of 2026?
I do, man. I can't think of a better way to start off the year than to talk about my boy, you know, who I'm a fan of, my boy Tim Kuniskis is back. Actually, I can't even credit Tim for this one. What I want to talk about is the 2026 Dodge Charger 6-pack.
Okay.
Now, the Dodge Charger, we already know that this car, this platform, Mopar came out, really delivered what I feel like is groundbreaking wins for the muscle car genre. We saw some of the most insane horsepower numbers we'd ever seen. We saw 700, and then we saw 717, and then we saw like 805 or 808, whatever it was. It just kept going, kept going. Obviously, government restrictions kind of cracked down, made it a little tough, and Dodge decided to pivot and take the very popular car and make it an EV. The EV was not well received. People didn't really like it. Now, don't get me wrong. I feel like visually the car is okay. I think it's a decent looking car. I actually kind of like the way it looks. But the question came of whether or not, now that government regulations have somewhat loosened up, if they would return a adequate muscle car engine into that car. And we talked about it here on this show. I felt like they would, and they did. Kind of. So for 2026, there are new versions of the Charger. So the 6-pack, the one I'm talking about, is going to come in two different trims. You can get it as an RT, or you can get it as a Scat Pack, with the pricing being $52,000 for the RT, $64,500, we'll say $64,500 for the Scat Pack. And these cars will have a twin turbo inline 6. And you think I'm talking about a Bimmer when I talk about an inline 6 that's twin turbocharged. Here's another thing. This car, for the first time, goes all-wheel drive. So the problem with all the old Mopars is that they could not put the power down. This car will hook and book. I watched some videos of it. If all you want to do is take it to the drag strip, you can hook and book. This car is going to be available in a 2-door version, or you can do a 4-door sedan version. And it's actually got decent numbers, Cam. I'm not going to lie. Now, Dodge is claiming 0 to 60 in 3.9 seconds, which is respectable. Don't get me wrong, it's not supercar fast, but it's respectable. Now, if you were hoping for a better number in the 0 to 60, let me tell you why you're probably not going to get it. The car is big.
I'm about to say it's probably a boat, ain't it?
The car is big. In fact, the car is heavier than the Hellcat Challenger, which we consider a boat. They call that car a boat. It is heavier.
Wow.
So it's about 4,800 pounds. And the cool thing, I feel like one of the cool things about this car is you do have control in the car to go from all-wheel drive to, you can send all that power to the rear wheels if you want to make it a bit more playful.
Oh, I know what that's gonna bring.
Well, if you want to make it a bit more playful. Now, from the interior side of things, the car does get some upgrades. I will include some pictures. I feel like the car looks pretty good. They did some good stuff on the inside. You get either a 10.3-inch or a 16-inch digital gauge cluster. You also get a 12.3-inch infotainment screen.
Okay, TV like everybody else.
Everybody, you know, it's kind of what people are doing right now. You get some tech. You get blind spot monitoring. You get adaptive cruise control. You get automated emergency braking if you just fall asleep and there's a car in front of you to help you out. And you also get curbside like cameras, and that's funny to me because obviously the point there's to aid with parking. So there's a picture that I saw. Throttle House did a drag challenge with the 6-pack, the Challenger Red Eye, and like a Mustang, and they did a top-down aerial shot, and this car is massive. Like it makes no sense how big the car
like
is.
in length or just, like wide
Everything.
Okay,
It's wide, it's long. It's just a massive car.
Okay.
Now, You know, I feel like in that episode, they said some decent things about the car and straight line speed because it will hook and book. It'll give you that. It's obviously not a track car. They tried to perform with it on the track, and Thomas hated it. He hated it around the track. And just, you know, some fun notes to share about the car, fun or not fun. Dodge was smart, so I thought. They took their EV platform and I thought when they made the EV car, they planned for the future to say, if we bring ICE engines back, we can do this, this. But in retrospect, it looked like they had an EV car and they said, okay, how can we also make it an ICE engine? Because one of the negative things that's being said about it is how high the floor sits in the car.
Okay.
So the floor of the car is dumb high because the car is made to house.
So it's
EV
built.
batteries.
Okay, it's built on the EV platform.
It is the EV car. They
Gotcha.
just don't have the batteries under there. So, like I said, the car is big. It's 4,800 pounds, which is 300 pounds heavier than the Hellcat Challenger. And the pricing, like I said, starts at $52,000. Cam, what do you think about the 2026 Dodge Charger 6-pack?
So the RT and the Scat Pack both have the same engine, the inline 6?
They do. So what they're doing for the Scat Pack is what they call Stage 2.
Okay,
it's
it's tune.
basically,
I figured
it's a different tune.
Okay, it's a different tune.
Yep.
And
8-speed automatic
I'm
transmission.
not gonna lie, I'm a bit like everything else sounds like what I would expect, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm disappointed in the 0 to 60. Like I am.
Sub 4 seconds?
Yeah, I am.
Sub 4 seconds is not.
But wasn't the Hellcat Challenger faster than that?
Oh no, because you couldn't put the power down. So I think Dodge claimed something like 3.6, but nobody could ever hit that number.
Fair.
You're gonna spin all the way.
Yeah, that's fair. I guess. Then at that point, who's this car for?
That's a great question.
Because it's a 6-cylinder.
Right.
It's probably, let's just say for the sake, the old Challengers and Chargers, they go 0 to 60 in 3.6. But if you can put the power down, but let's assume you can't, and that's probably costing you half a second.
Absolutely.
You basically on par with that.
Well, I will tell you, they dragged this against a Hellcat, and it walked.
It dogged it. Okay.
It walked it. And it's simply because you're doing this.
You're fighting it.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, I think they said it was in the top of 4th gear before they finally hooked up.
Okay, but even still, like, I guess if you buying it for that person, you ain't beat nobody but other Dodge owners.
Here's what I'll say. I think a lot of the criticism that this car gets is valid, and I think it's warranted. What I will say is I want to give Dodge some credit for, this is going to sound bad, but I want to give them credit for looking around their garage and being like, what can we make with what we have here available? Now, Cam, here's what I'm interested in.
Okay.
Once the aftermarket guys get a hold to this platform, what can they do with it? Because you take what people do with BMWs, I'm not saying this is a BMW, but they get stupid numbers out of those things in the aftermarket world. So once the tuners and all that stuff, once they get into this, what can it
I'm glad you said that, because that was my next question gonna be was if the is it Hellcat? Is that no, what's the top trim called? Scat Pack. They got too many Scat Packs, cats, and all that, but whatever. Yeah. But if that's just a stage 2 tune of the RT, why buy that instead of just buying the RT and tuning it? And then also, if the Scat Pack is already tuned, I'm wondering how much can it be tuned after market? At least with stock parts. Like how much further can you take that before you start blowing the engine up?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think
and somebody's gonna.
I'm about to say the aftermarket, they're gonna figure it out. They're gonna figure it out real quick. Especially it's twin turbo, right?
Twin turbo.
Yeah, they gonna somebody gonna get in there and push them twin turbos to capacity.
Yeah.
Take them out and put some bigger ones in if they can fit it in there. Yeah, but I was shocked to hear the 0 to 60, but that's fair that now it's an authentic 3.9 that you can actually achieve and not worry about the car, going off the side of the road on you. So okay, I don't hate nor love it. I'm neutral. I'm interested to see what Dodge fans, how you feel about this. Do you feel moved by this? Are you gonna jump into the new body? Because like Space said, I think the body of the EV nobody really had a problem with, but the fact that it was an EV was the big issue. So that's interesting. Those are my thoughts on that.
But no, I want to like this. I do, and I just keep. I'll find something that I like about it, and I'll find something that I dislike about it. And it's like it's all-wheel drive, but it gives you the control to send power to the rear wheels when you want to be more playful. Love it. It's the V6, don't love it. Or inline 6, don't love it. Twin turbo, I kind of like it.
That's going to be the interesting part to me.
That's going to be the
not
interesting
even it being twin turbo, but it being 6-cylinder with the crowd they going after.
But at the end of the day, I mean, the fact that you can get it in a 2-door coupe or a 4-door sedan, I love all that. I like.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, even from an aftermarket perspective, how much money are you willing to invest into an almost 5,000-pound car? It's just too big.
Yeah, and it's at $50K for the base, and then 60,
$52K and basically 65. 65.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean,
it's big.
To give it a point for the market today, you put 20K in either one of those, you still underneath, things that are at that performance or better.
And the question mark that everybody's going to ask is, does this now classify as a muscle car? And the joke that's running online is, I think it's Car and Driver listed it as the number 2 best muscle car that you can get right now. Behind the Mustang in a list of 2 muscle cars. So, I mean, obviously.
No Camaro anymore, so yeah.
No Camaro anymore.
Unless you count the Aston.
British
emergent, British American cars. Right. I mean, British muscle car.
I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But I mean, at this point, the C8 is more sports car.
Yep.
Even before the Camaro left, it was more sports car.
Yep.
So it's like, if you're trying to capture the muscle car enthusiast, maybe you grab someone. To your point, I'm not quite sure who the car is for.
Okay. Interested to see how that folds out. Like I say, Dodge fans, let us know how you feel about this new Charger. 6-pack, Scat Pack, RT. Well, we'll see what other kind of crazy name they come up with, because I know another one coming.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Spade. I'm going in a completely different direction today.
Yep.
But I am excited to get your input on it. Spade, we got Formula One news today.
Okay.
Spade, this year in 2026, Formula One, first year under new regulations, right?
Okay.
So manufacturers are, rebuilding the engines. They're rebuilding the chassis around the cars. We got, Audi's in the game now. We got some new competitors. This, that, and the third. But Spade, before the new season even starts, we got some controversy due to these new regulations.
Wow.
Mercedes and Red Bull have found a loophole in regards to the engine. So under the new regulations, the compression ratio for the ICE portion of the platform, because it's a shared platform, but having electronics, it's also having a conventional engine.
Right.
But that internal combustion engine part, the compression ratio has been reduced from 18-to-1 ratio to a 16-to-1 ratio under these new regulations. Now, how they enforce that under the rules currently is that ratio will be measured when the car is at ambient temperature outside. But Spade, Mercedes and Red Bull have found a way to increase that ratio while the engine is at higher temperatures, aka while it's on track and running. Spade, the way this type of thing has happened in Formula One before, where somebody has found a loophole in the rule and they see it as, hey, we found a loophole in the rule, we're geniuses. The other team see it as, you're cheating.
Of course.
So, of course, when this was found out, the other team was like, wait a minute, them ain't the rules. So it's it's put the FIA, which is the Federal International Association, their governing body of it, which I got a lot of takes about them. They're very inconsistent. So that's also playing a role in this. But it's put them in a tough spot, because on one hand, Red Bull and Mercedes can point to that, hey, our engine is compliant under testing that you have outlined. But there also is another rule, and that I have it here. It is the different article where it states Formula One cars must comply with these regulations in their entirety at all times during competition.
Okay.
That's basically saying, hey, this car got to be compliant within the rules all the time. Not just sometimes, all the time. So it is a strange loophole. For me, I don't fault Mercedes or Red Bull for finding a loophole, because you've heard the saying, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. And especially in a multi-million, billion-dollar sport like Formula One is. It is, money is king. I get it. I get why people try to extract every piece, cut corners when they can. They're trying to get every advantage possible. Mm-hmm. Another reason why this compression ratio is super important, because you might be hearing this like, why is that super beneficial? Because of the fuel flow is heavily regulated in Formula One. Yeah, you just can't go out there with just a bunch of fuel or a little fuel, because that impacts the weight of the car, all that stuff. So they have a lot of rules around that. So because of that, it is critical that you get the most amount of power out of as little fuel as possible. Mm-hmm. And with that compression ratio being able to be higher at higher temps, you basically getting 10 to maybe 15 more horsepower is what estimated because of that. So on one token, if you and I are both running the same amount of fuel, I'm going to be getting more power than you from that. And on the same token, I can actually run less fuel than you and still perform at the same pace as you. But I got less weight. So it's providing two major advantages this year, especially because the FIA has their hand a lot more on the electrical side of the platform. So it's a lot more say-so on that from circuit to circuit. But on the ICE side, the standards are kind of the standards. So once you maximize that, it is maximized. An official protest hasn't been filed yet by rival teams, but there is a meeting scheduled January 22nd, which is 4 days before the preseason testing, to try to come to a resolution of this issue. It's looking like nothing's going to happen for at least the first half, or if not the whole entirety of the 2026 season. They may try to enforce something post-summer break, which is like the halfway point of the season, but it's really looking like Mercedes and Red Bull finna slide this year, and then 2027, they're gonna have to make something shake.
Wow.
Another layer on that, because I know you don't know, but if you do, and also if you don't know, you don't keep up Formula One, Mercedes also supplies engines to other teams on the circuit.
But they ain't supplying them with that one.
No, they have to. Because, it's legal. They cannot give themselves advantages that they do not give the other teams. They have to tell them their information. That's how all this stuff came out to be. And because some workers, left them and went to others. So news got out and other teams like, hey, wait a damn minute. This ain't it. So, Ferrari was not happy. Audi was not happy. Honda was not happy. Honda was especially pissed because Honda used to be Red Bull's engine manufacturer before this new partnership with Ford.
Wow.
Which is another layer in it that I'm like, this is Ford's first year back. And they find a loophole, so kind of impressive on that front. Give me your thoughts on all of that.
I mean, as F1 novice, because I don't know much about F1, but I know a lot about sports, and I know in such a competitive space, teams are trying to find any advantage possible. So in a sport where tenths of a second, hundredths of a second can change your placement. Not knowing enough about the rules, I like it. You know what I'm saying? To me, I'm kind of impressed. And if I was a fan of that team, I wanna cheer and root for a team that's gonna do whatever they can do to find a way.
Yeah, that's my thing. A lot of people, if you're not a Mercedes or Red Bull fan, you're not happy with it. But my thing is, I'm not mad at either one of them. I am mad at the inconsistency that the FIA continues to display, because there have been things like this that have popped up in the past where sometimes they let it go through. Sometimes they're like, hey, nah, you got to change that. And it's like, okay, what's the standard here? Because in one case you saying, nah, y'all got to change what y'all doing. That's unfair.
Right.
And in this case, you saying, like, Dave came out and said, like, oh, we probably going to change this for next year. So like, you're admitting this, like, this wasn't the intent of the rule.
Definitely not within the rules if it's going to be changed.
But then they like, but we gonna let it ride for this year. And it's like, all right, so we just, how does one compete with this when teams are getting 10 to 15 brake horsepower more than we are?
But let me ask you this. If they have to share the discovery, do they have to share, like, how it's done? And if so, can other teams just...
I don't know all the ins and outs of that, between like how the engine manufacturer sharing goes, because I'm sure with this sport too, I'm sure they still hide stuff just because of how this goes.
Of course.
But I believe they do have to kind of give them, some type of recipe on how the engine is working and whatnot. Even with how to actually test the engine, that has to be shared with the FIA, so the FIA knows, like, because each engine manufacturer can have a different way of getting to that test, but they opt to have a test that is compliant with the rules, and it is an ambient temperature. And I think that's the part where people are like, this could be easily solved, is instead of testing the car at ambient temperature, test it at higher temperatures and make sure that these engines are still running at the proper compression ratio.
Yeah.
Which is an easy fix, but it's also like, okay, if Mercedes and Red Bull have spent the last 2-3 years building these engines up before these regulations, and then we come out, like I said, weeks before the next preseason testing and be like, your engine ain't compliant, what do you do at that point? It's like, now you're taking two major competitors off the grid. So it is a hot topic. I said the preseason testing is January 26th. The meeting about this is January 22nd. They're going to meet about some other stuff too, but this is the big topic. So like I said, I don't anticipate them changing anything for this season, because I think they'll rather have all the teams on the grid for this year, for the new first year of the regulations, as opposed to having to come down with a sanction and now two of your top dogs will scramble.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a very juicy topic right now in the Formula One world.
I can see.
We will see what comes. We'll see what comes of it, and I'm sure even as the season unfolds, we'll hear plenty about it. I got a list here, and this is a list of the best-selling vehicles of 2025 in America, and that in America part is going to be very important here because the trend is very apparent of what the American people do and don't buy. Spade. I'm gonna go through this whole list and then we're gonna get our thoughts after. So, best selling vehicles in America, 2025.
Okay.
Starting out number 10, Toyota Tacoma, sold 274,000 units. Number 9, we got the Tesla Model Y, and it has estimated 300,000 units. Now they didn't give an exact amount. I'm assuming they couldn't get the exact data there, but I guess through some finagling some data, they got it at 9. I don't know how to feel about that, but whatever. At number 8, we have the Toyota Camry, selling 316,000 units. And I'm gonna just say right there, that's the first and last sedan you're gonna see on this list.
Oh wow.
Number 7, Chevrolet Equinox, which shocks me, 332,000 units sold. The GMC Sierra takes number 6, 356,000 units sold. Number 5, we got the Dodge Ram, 374,000 units sold. The Honda CR-V takes the number 4 spot at 403,000 units sold. The Toyota RAV4 at number 3 with 479,000 units sold. And number 2 is the Chevy Silverado at 558,000 units sold. And then number 1 is Ford F-Series, not just the F-150, but the 250, 350, 450, however many they make. Sold $828,000. Spade.
Yes.
It is one car on this list. And it is only 2 non-pickups on this list. It is very clear. Actually, no, 3, because I forgot the Toyota RAV4. So, and I think, well, no, CR-V, it's okay 4.
Yeah,
but still.
Kind of crossover.
Yeah, kind of crossover, but still. SUVs, pickup trucks. Sedans ain't really.
I'm not shocked.
They ain't really in no more.
I'm not shocked though.
Yeah, I'm not either, but it's just like, golly, like, is one sedan on this list? Like, don't nobody want a sedan no more unless it's a Camry? Like, that's interesting. What are your thoughts on this?
I'm not shocked at all. I think the gift and the curse, the best thing that's probably happened to automakers is Americans' infatuation with SUVs. And I'm not pointing fingers at others. Like here in my own household, I'm talking to my wife, and my wife is like, I need an SUV. And for those that don't know, we are empty nesters. Our kids have moved out. And I'm like, who in the hell, who you carrying around? Why do you need an SUV? But SUVs are so, I guess they're so good at so many things.
Practical.
They're just so practical.
Yep.
If you do want to carry things, it's got it. People, it's got it. No one, it's got it. You want to ride comfortable, it's got it. One of the things that my wife says a lot is I hate driving behind things I can't see over or around. I like to sit up a little bit higher. Guess what? It's got it. And really, yes, with the trucks, you get even more practicality and more functionality with having a bed on the back. But if you think about it, most of these trucks are just SUVs with a bed in place of the cargo area. They're basically the same vehicle. So I'm not shocked. I feel like that's what's represented when I drive around. I mean, obviously, you see a lot of cars on the road, but in terms of like new stuff I see a lot of SUVs, crossover SUVs, which I call slightly bigger cars, and trucks. That's what you see.
And on that note, I don't think you see a lot of effort being put into new sedans because, you know, you and I were having a completely different conversation where I was just like, there aren't any modern day sedans that really move me. Like the only ones I could think of is the Cadillac CT5 and the CT4, which, like, I think the V's, the top trims of those models are going away. So it's like, that don't move me. Being a Bimmer, it's like, that don't really move me. But I guess
got some.
Yeah, Audi got some. None of those really move me like that. And then Lexus. I guess you got the Camry, you got Lexus, but it's like there's no sedan that just jumps out to me today. It's just like yeah, this is like
this is the one
de facto, you know, above the others. And I don't really think, to your point, because the American people are buying SUVs and pickup trucks, they putting all the effort into that.
That's what I was gonna say. So, I want to believe I hope, but I want to believe these companies are smart enough that they got like
metrics and stuff.
Yeah, they know what the people want. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They doing some research out there, and it's a chicken and egg thing. Why would you continue to?
Now, on that note, do you think sedans will make a comeback in the States, or do you think?
Yeah, man. Like, I'm old enough to have seen everything go full circle. People people found a reason to bring back bell bottoms, and if them shits can come back, anything can come back. So yes, like everything is gonna go full circle. The stuff that's hot. I heard a quote. And somebody would say, "Oh man, I remember." They was talking about older sports cars, and it was some older BMW. And unfortunately, I don't remember which one it is. But for the sake of just keeping it moving, let's say it was the M2. And this person was like, "I remember when people were getting rid of their M2 to go cop the new Infinities." That sounds so crazy.
Yeah.
But you did what? You got rid of an M2 for an Infinity?
Yeah.
So things just go full circle, man. So I think sedans will return. And I think, they'll have their time again, but it is easy right now. It is definitely a SUV climate here in this state.
Yeah, it really is. Just to note again, we didn't really get an actual number on how many Model Y units sold.
Which is strange.
It is very strange, and I'm going to sit up here and assume that Tesla put the payola in to get on this list, especially number 9. Like, it's, very, very odd that y'all just barely fell on this list, but, whatever. Whatever.
From a tech company that probably has tighter analytics.
Exactly. We can't get how many units sold.
Right.
But whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, Spade, that's all I got. Just kind of want to give people a snapshot of what people were buying last year. I think that's it, Spade, for this one. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. How do you feel about the new Charger, Scat Pack, Hellcat, Kitty Cat, all the different trims they got? If you're in the Formula One, what do you think about this whole Mercedes and Red Bull saga? Are you Team Mercedes? Are you Team Red Bull? Are you like me and you room for Ferrari and you wish they would cheat and get into some of this? But yeah, sound off in the comments. Make sure y'all follow us on TikTok, Instagram, all the good stuff. Tell everybody where to find us. And until next time, peace.